What's up, guys? It's your boy Chris here with Team APS, and I'm here to give you a deck profile of the deck I've been playing recently. You guys have seen the deck before, and it's a pretty cool deck, but what I've been playing recently is Spellbooks. This is pretty much going to be a blast from the past. If you've ever seen a Spellbook deck, you know it's a more control type deck, and I like it a lot. You know, it fits my play style. So I'm going to jump right into the profile. First off, I play one High Priestess. Pretty much, it is a boss monster in the deck, but it's not necessarily a win condition. But essentially, you can summon this by revealing 3 Spellbook cards in your hand and special summon it. And you can also banish a Spellbook card from your hand or the graveyard to destroy a card on the field. So, like I said, it's there. If you draw it, fine. If not, it's not the end of the world because it's not necessarily the win condition of the deck. But if you get to it, that's cool. After that, we play pretty much the engine of the deck. We got 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. This is your main searcher. It does take up your normal summon, but it can pretty much search all the Spellbook spells out of your deck. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a level 2 monster, but you use this to pretty much get to all of your spell cards. Next up, we got what I would say is the win condition of the deck. We play 3 Jowgen. If you don't know what Jowgen does, this card pretty much says as long as it's face up on the field, neither player can special summon. Also, it has a second effect that you can randomly discard a card from your hand and destroy all special summon monsters on the field. So essentially, if you get to Jowgen and you can protect your Jowgen and control the tempo of the game, you can pretty much win that game. You just pretty much have to keep Jowgen on board. But you play him at 3, so you'll draw it. You usually see it because you play a lot of draw cards, but a lot of times you have to normal summon your blue board. You can't really get to your Jowgen as much, but Jowgen is usually the win condition of the deck. And that's all I play in monsters. Very low count because the meat of the deck is really the spell cards. They pretty much get everything going and what you need to pretty much win. So I play 3 Spellbook of Secrets. Spellbook of Secrets searches all of your other spell books, and it searches Magician of Prophecy. But you can only activate once per turn. But essentially, this is the main spell that you're going to be going for. A lot of times you'll go Blue Boy, which is the Prophecy, into Spellbook of Secrets, and you can search out something else. So essentially, that's your main spell card in the deck. After that, I play 1 Power. Power boosts any spellcaster monster by 1,000 attack. And if it destroys a monster that turn, you can search a Spellbook card if it destroys a monster. Pretty much, it's a really good card. You only need to play it at 1 because you don't need to see it that much because you can search it. And it doesn't do anything by itself, so playing it at 1 is good enough. After that, you play what I think is the most powerful spell in the deck, which is Spellbook of Fate. Spellbook of Fate has 3 effects. The first effect, you can banish 1 Spellbook in your graveyard to return 1 set spell or trap card on the field to the hand. You don't use that one as much, but it does come in handy sometimes. The second effect, you can banish 2 Spellbook cards in your graveyard, and you can book a moon a monster, basically. You can flip it face down. And the third effect, you can banish 3 cards, and you can banish 3 Spellbooks in your graveyard to banish 1 card on the field. And that effect doesn't target. So this card gets over a lot of stuff because it doesn't target. And a lot of times you set up your plays by activating Spellbook of Secrets, and then you activate, I haven't shown it yet, but you activate Masters, copy something, and you'll automatically set up this card's second effect to book a moon or monster. So you got your Jowgen on board, you set this, you pretty much are always going to be able to protect your Jowgen as long as you got this card set. But this right here, in my opinion, is the most powerful spell in the deck. After that, you got Spellbook of Knowledge. This card's been seeing a lot of play lately, strictly because it's an engine with Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. You could activate Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, search out Spellbook of Knowledge, activate Spellbook of Knowledge, send your Spellbook Magician of Prophecy to graveyard and draw 2 cards. But it's a little bit more powerful in this deck because you can activate it, and you can basically send 1 of the Spellbooks in your hand to the graveyard and draw 2 cards. So, like I said, it's a little more versatile in this deck, but it has been seeing a lot of play lately, and it just gives this deck a little bit more draw power. After that, I play Spellbook of Wisdom. This right here comes in handy a lot. A lot of people I've seen that have played the deck, they only play this card at 1. Me personally, I like it at 2 because it can pretty much just protect your Jowgen from impermanence. That card pretty much destroys Jowgen. So essentially, you activate this when they activate impermanence or something, a spell or trap that can target your monsters, and you can pretty much protect it from either spells or traps. It has 2 effects. You activate one to protect from spells, activate the other one, protect from traps. That's a good card. I like playing it at 2, but you don't have to play it at 2 if you play the deck. Next, I talked about this card a little while ago, Spellbook of the Master. What this card does is when you activate it, you reveal one Spellbook card in your hand, and you copy the effect of a Spellbook card in your graveyard. So a lot of times you'll be activating this card to copy your Spellbook of Power to boost your monster by another 1,000 attack, and you can also add another card if you destroy a monster. You can copy Spellbook of Secrets to search another card. You can copy Spellbook of Knowledge to get rid of a Spellbook or a monster to draw 2 cards. You pretty much just copy the effects with this card, and it's pretty powerful because it pretty much just allows you to fill your graveyard up and set up Fate. Next, I play 1 Spellbook of Life. This is pretty much a monster reborn for the deck. If you got 2 Spellbook monsters in your graveyard, or 2 Spellcaster monsters in your graveyard, you can pretty much activate this. You banish 1, reveal a Spellbook in your hand, and you special summon a Spellcaster from the graveyard. Pretty much a monster reborn. It does equip to it, but it's a pretty decent card. You don't need to play it at more than 1 because, I mean, it's not that great, but it gets the job done, in my opinion, so it's a decent card. After that, I play 1 Spellbook Eternity. This is the only card I may change. I like playing this at 2 sometimes, but I played it at 1 recently, and it's been doing okay. But essentially, this just lets you add back any of your banished Spellbook cards and add them to your hand. So essentially, after you activate Fate, you can activate this and add back 1 to your hand, and pretty much just keep your plays going. After that, I play 1 Spellbook Tower, the Grand Spellbook Tower. What this does is, during your standby phase, you could take a Spellbook card from your graveyard, put it at the bottom of your deck and draw a card. That comes in handy a lot because you can activate this before you activate one of my other draw cards in the deck, but you can pretty much do this before you get to your main phase, and you pretty much just get extra cards. And it also lets you put your Spellbooks back in the deck. And it also has a second effect that if this card is destroyed, you can special summon a Spellbook, not a Spellbook, you special summon a Spellcaster monster from your deck equal to the number of Spellbook cards in your graveyard. So this is a pretty powerful card. You don't need to play it at anything more than 1, but it's a good card. After that, I play 1 Secret Village. All the monsters I play in here are Spellcasters, so why not play Secret Village and shut off my opponent for spells? And right here, you got Mystic Mind. Everybody know what Mystic Mind does. A lot of people hate this card. Me personally, I don't like this card, but playing in a deck like this, a more controlled deck, it is a good card because a lot of times you can just blow your opponent out with it and, clear their board. After that, I play 3 Power the Guardians. This is a different card. A lot of people don't even know about this card, but what this card does is when you equip it to a monster, every time that monster does battle, so if it attacks or if it is attacked, that monster gains 500 attack, and you put a counter on this card. If that monster would be destroyed, you can remove a counter from this card. So essentially, this just protects whatever monster you have on board. So you equip this to your Jowgen, and if your opponent doesn't deal with it quick enough, the game, it makes your monsters pretty big because they're going to gain that 500 every time this card is activated, essentially. So that's a pretty good card. A lot of people don't know about it, but it actually helps the deck out a lot. After that, I play 2 Demise of the Land. This pretty much just gets you to your field spells if your opponent special summons a monster. So if you got an opponent that's going off, they just constantly summoning monsters, you can flip this up when they special summon a monster and activate Mystic Mind from the deck, or activate Spellbook Tower from the deck, or Secret Village. Essentially, it's a pretty decent card in my opinion, and you kind of need to play it in the deck. After that, I play 2 Pot of Duality. Essentially, it just lets you dig through the deck a little faster and get cards that you need. You really don't special summon this deck a lot at all, So essentially, this is not a drawback. It just gets you an extra card in your hand. And after that, you play 3 Pot of Extravagance. Your extra deck you don't really use at all. So essentially, with Pot of Extravagance, you pretty much a free draw 2 in the deck. You can't activate any of your other draw cards under Pot of Extravagance, but your Grand Spellbook Tower, during your standby phase, when you put 1 back to draw 1, you'll draw 1 from Grand Spellbook Tower, and then you can activate this and start your main phase to draw 2 more. So essentially, you get 3 cards that turn. Well, 4 because you got to draw for turn. But really powerful card in the deck. I wouldn't play the deck without it. For traps, I play 1 Metaverse. Same reason you play the Miles of the Land. It lets you activate your trap cards, your field spells from the deck, or add in the hand if you want to. But essentially, this card does numbers because essentially you could activate Secret Village from the deck and it shuts your opponent off during their turn from spells. These right here are changeable, but I like playing 3 Solemn Judgment. You do give up a lot of life points to play Solemn Judgment, but essentially with this being able to negate cards like Lightning Storm, negate your monster summons, and just it's the most versatile Solemn card. And I like playing it in the deck, but you can change this around depending on what you think is a bigger threat. Me personally, right now, I think some spells are bigger threats, so I like playing this because it can just negate those. I'm not really going to go through the extra deck too much, but essentially I just play a whole bunch of cards that I could use to summon. That I could use to summon off Super Poly because I do side Super Poly. And I also play just a lot of cards that you could banish for Pot of Extravagance. And that's pretty much the deck.
Well, closing thoughts, any extra words, anything like that?
If you have the Pot of Extravagance to play the deck, I say try it out. I've been messing around with the new build. It gets more expensive, and I don't like it because of that. But it runs Magician's Soul. If you got that card, try it out in the deck also. Let you do some good things with High Priestess. But essentially, if you like the deck, I say try it out. It is an old deck. It's made to be a control type deck. So if you like playing control, Yu-Gi-Oh, you like controlling the tempo of the game, I say try the deck out. If you got the cards to play it, go ahead and do that. I can't think of any alternatives besides the Pot of Extravagance right now. If I do, I'll do an updated profile with those so you can get a more budget build because the main cards in the deck aren't that expensive. But overall, the deck does pretty well against the meta a lot of times, especially if you can play first, because you're going to get to your Jowgen and you're going to summon it and your opponent's not going to be able to get over it because you're going to protect it. The deck does lose a little bit to spell and trap card destruction because a lot of times they can deal with your problem before they even have to attack your monster. And I feel like that is like the biggest weakness of the deck. But other than that, I like the deck a lot. It's one of my favorite decks to play from back in the day. I don't really like playing a lot of the newer decks, but mostly because the archetypes just don't appeal to me. But I like the old decks, so I like to play them. That's why I play things like Spellbooks and Mermails and Burning Abyss and things like that. But if you like the deck, man, try it out. If you got the cards for it, try it out.
All right, thanks. If you guys liked it, thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.